going live on that first.
On this first.
Yep.
So from Stop.
Good morning, guys. Here we go. Hey. Okay. We'll be starting soon. I'm gonna play some music for you.
Okay, so
BRB. Morning. Make sure you guys share the live. We're coming. We're testing new setups for you guys. We're trying a ting. Hey, Darcy. So I'm not going to be able to wave at y'all anymore because you're going to be so far away.
good morning, everybody.
So you can share the live from mine then. Okay, we're going to share the live out to some people. Doop-a-doop. Hey, boop, boop-a-doop. Good times. What's up, y'all? So as you can see, we are unpacking trust issues today. So the way that we're going to do things today is we are going to leave space so that if anybody wants to actually come on the live and chat with us, you can do that. So, invite some people in here that you think might be dealing with trust issues or might have a good opinion on trust issues. We want to talk and tell.
Okay.
Oi. Skirks. Morning. All right.
how's everybody doing out there in virtual land? Keeping the faith?
It's hump day.
Can you imagine?
I mean,
like, is this week? Are the weeks going by faster and faster and faster, or is it just me?
it's not just you.
Oh my God, we're already halfway through the year, if not more. Well, I guess more than halfway through the year, halfway through the halfway point. So, there's a lot of plans to be made for the rest of the year. I still think that, regardless of what's going on out there, I still think the ability to revamp and kind of recreate who you are and what you do lasts you all the way to December, and hopefully spring you forward for 2021 is there. But trust might be required in order to get that done.
Not might. It is. It really is.
So we want to talk about it because it seems to be like a massive issue, especially in our industry. There's so many emerging artists that we deal with, and so many different organizations and businesses and entrepreneurs that need others to do what is required in order to move them forward.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part about it is it requires trust. You actually have to literally hand over trust to somebody in order to get it done. And I think that's the difficult part for most people, is like really letting go. I think part of trust is also tied with communication and delegation and belief that it's going to get done. So let's talk about it.
Do you want to start? Who started last week? Was it you or me?
You started last week.
Okay, your turn.
I put myself on blast there for a second. So, Carrie Ann, I'm going to ask you a question first and foremost. First and foremost, do you have trust issues when delegating some of the work that you know you could do to others?
Oh, you had to take it with
I
work,
did.
eh?
I did. I have to go with work because Carrie Ann is a type A. So
I was all ready to answer from like a relationship perspective, but when it comes to work, yeah, I do. I really do. I know that I personally have very high standards when it comes to quality of work, both from a giving and receiving perspective. And because I hold myself to have such a high standard, I hold the same regard to other people. So due to my past experiences, when I have trusted somebody to do the work that I know that I could do myself, and they didn't deliver on the level that I had hoped, yeah, it's caused me to just be like, well, you know what, I'm just gonna do it myself.
okay.
Yeah.
And so does that kind of like leave wounds, if you will? So you almost carry forward that same idealism of somebody cannot deliver because of past experience?
I would say yes and no. It does make it makes me a little bit more weary and cautious, and causes me to do, I guess, more due diligence to try to not only establish the level of my expectations and my desired result, but also their capabilities in even being able to deliver. You know, I can have as much hopes for somebody in the world, but that still doesn't mean that they will deliver. So
how do you know?
I
mean, until you give that away, it's kind of like you have to identify with the fact that they can do it.
I think track records and portfolios and that kind of thing are definitely huge in helping that. That's not to say that, you know, nobody's fibbed on a resume before, but it helps in the decision-making process. Dexter asks, are you going in guarded? Ooh. Yes and no. To an extent, to a point. I would say not guarded to the point of hindrance, you know, where I wouldn't be open to even considering, but definitely guarded in the sense that it would take a little bit longer before I actually be like, aye, here, take it and go. So yes, but sometimes I think that having that level of being guarded is okay once it doesn't, you know, detriment the progress.
For sure. But I think there's a gray area there, because it's interesting that you're saying as long as it's not a detriment to progress. But the irony is, at least in my opinion, do you even know what that detriment is? How, like, you're almost conjuring up ideas in your mind of what could happen.
Of course.
So, and, you know, it's easy to, you know that saying, what's that saying? Like, bad news spreads faster than good news.
Yeah.
So in your mind, you kind of related to the bad experiences more so than the good experiences. I think there's some fact finding that has to go into play when sourcing the individuals that you're trying to, you know, help you, or you need help. But before we even go there, I think there's like an internal thing that has to be done first, because there's so many people that want to give stuff away, but don't, and they just do it themselves because of that wound that they suffered before. Or I actually think most people don't know how to communicate what they want. I really do.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
I think that people don't know how to communicate what they want. I really know. All jokes aside, I really do. I think we kind of like paint big pictures, because it's easy to, you know, this is your end goal, this is what you want. So it's easy to paint the big picture, but then there's like these micro steps that have to come into play in order to paint that big picture. And it's the micro steps that, one, either you don't delegate really, you don't kind of give it to somebody and say, here, and kind of like look away for a moment and just trust that they can do it. I also think that sometimes we're just not really good at communicating what those finite steps are, or identifying how those individuals relate to those finite steps.
I agree. It's a lot of, I think, reverse engineering. It's like one of my favorite things to do, but a lot of people don't even know what they want to the point where they can identify that very specific end result to be able to reverse engineer it and identify what steps actually need to be taken to get there.
Hands down. Agreed. Ooh, I'll cheers to that one too. Reverse engineer, guys.
So this is what happens when you go live and your brother is in the house. Darcy says, knowing that you have your own standard, are you cautious with who you work with? I'll let you answer that one first.
Yes. The answer is yes. But I've also devised a series of questions, and I've gotten really good at giving people very tiny, tiny chores. And I give it to them and I say, can you do it? They say yes most of the time. Then I ask, when do you think you'll have that done by? I let them tell me. And then I don't say a word. I don't say a word. If that date goes by, guess what? People are creatures of habit. That's the thing. Work ethic will show up regardless. It's hard to, you may want to shine for a few minutes, but again, habit tends to take over. So here comes the second aspect of trust. Perhaps maybe that individual isn't accustomed to the way you work. Right? Or they themselves have never worked with somebody else. So in the interim of building this, when you realize that they are missing the mark, they're not coming through with the ETA. How is it a fair chance to give them another chance in regards to having that conversation with them to say, hey guys, you know what, you didn't deliver, this is an expectation. Do we have those conversations, guys? Do you feel open to have those conversations with somebody? Are you really bossing up? Because leadership is giving somebody the ability to see the leadership in themselves. That's my belief. I don't like managing people. I really don't. I like watching people shine. I prefer to do that.
Yeah.
So for example, when we work, it's usually like, here, Carrie Ann, these are my thoughts. What do you think? You kind of give me a ballpark of what we can do, how we can do it, when we can do it. We kind of massage it a little bit. I tell you what I like, what I don't like, and throughout the entire process,
yes,
I think.
Very true.
And sometimes it's not easy because we're good friends too. So sometimes it's not easy to say, hey, hon, I don't like that. I don't like the way that's happening. I don't like the way you're doing it. But the thing is, I do believe that's how bosses are made.
Yeah. And I also think that it took us a while to get there.
Yeah.
I think that it's a learned skill sometimes. And with us, it came gradually as part of learning each other's habits and our work ethic and our style of communication.
Very different.
And also just understanding each other's intentions, right? Like, I know that you don't have ill intent towards me.
Never.
So I can take your feedback as opposed to taking it as criticism, which understanding that helps me understand that, like, if I don't hear from you for X amount of time after we've decided, okay, I'm going to handle something, then I know it's because you trust me to get it done. And if you were to ask about it in that process, it's not because you don't trust me to get it done. It's just because, like, you like to know what's going on.
True. But maybe I trust you so proficiently that being part of your process is also meaningful to me.
Oh, I like that.
It is. You know, and the truth is, when you're giving away something to somebody to do, let's keep it real. You can't do it. Or you probably shouldn't do it, or you can't do it as well as they can.
Yeah.
You really should be hiring or getting somebody that is an expert in what it is you want them to do.
Agreed.
So you are an expert in what it is you do. So sometimes me kind of like asking questions, if you will, is a way for me to learn too.
Yes.
I don't need to know the full process, but I want to have a conversation with you about it. And I don't even know what to ask if I don't know the process.
Absolutely.
So it's, you know, each one teach one.
Oh, I love that one. That one's good.
And it's also part of the trust factor, at least I think so. Closing my eyes at night and saying, she'll have it done, it'll be okay. You know? It's part of my development too. I can't just assume it's about you're doing this for me.
Yeah.
There's me giving that away is me developing myself to be able to do that. And I also want to be a really great person at building people. I want to get very good at supporting people in what they do from an expertise level. I want to see that shine. I want to see that light. So I have to kind of pull back. Because if I hover, I create a shadow.
Oh,
yeah.
Mish coming with the nuggets today.
Yeah, it's not cool.
I love it.
It's not cool. You gotta let people breathe, I think, but you also have to be open. You have to be that that communicator. And if they're not receiving how you're communicating, it might not always be them. It might be you. It might be the way you're communicating or what you're not communicating. It's also up to the other party, too, to own up to what they can and cannot do.
That's some tea. Take a sip, y'all.
Yeah. Don't be a superstar where you can.
It's not always them.
No. Real talks. Because there's times where you and I, like, I know where your expertise is and you know where mine is, but then we get into this weird blurry space where it's kind of like, uh-oh, and we have to combine forces. So it's the ability to know that you can trust yourself to look at somebody else and say, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm a little lost on the idea of where we're going. I'm struggling with the task at hand. How can you help me?
Yeah.
And you start to end up building yourself. Like, you build each other up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you guys understand a little bit about how we are formulating these talks, today we decided that because this is such a topic that is so relatable to so many people on different levels, both professionally and personally, we decided to do it this way so that we can actually bring people in and have verbal conversations with you guys. I have a feeling that this is going to go past an hour, so it's at 11:24 right now. I know Ryder said that he would jump on with us. Ryder, do you want to come on now? Also, you guys probably see me like doing this all the time. It's because I'm trying to like actually respond to your comments while we're having the conversation, but it's easier to do it via typing than it is orally because, I mean, we don't want to interrupt the flow of the thoughts in the conversation. So I'm the one who's typing and Michelle's seeing your comments, so Nevin said
Comment
hi.
away.
Yeah,
Hi,
comment
Nevin.
away.
Morning.
But
Hey.
I'll be responding for the both of
Got
us.
my coffee.
Morning, Briz. Okay, Ryder
Good
is ready.
morning,
Ryder, can you
Briz.
send
a request?
Yeah.
Come on in, Ryder. I feel this will be a good one. He's awesome.
Yay. Actually, maybe I can find him. There we go. Actually, let's try this.
Ah,
Good morning, ladies.
morning.
Can you hear me?
We
Yes.
can.
Can you hear us?
How y'all doing?
Good. Where are you with that blue sky? I have gray skies right now.
Right now, where am I? I'm on Wilson, that Killer Wilson area.
Nice. Okay, we'll keep with the blue skies, my friend.
Send some our way, please.
How are you guys enjoying your morning?
So far, so great. We're talking about trust. The lack
Yes, that was
thereof or not.
that's a very touching subject because even as a manager, I even tell people who want new managers, um, I personally rather manage people that I already have a relationship with. And the reason why I do that is simply because of trust. I want to be able to trust you. I want you to be able to trust me. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
a lot of times, these artists are going through personal issues or issues in their life where they get misconstrued and don't know what to do. So what I try to do is I try to be a friend first. I try to understand what their needs are. Because once I understand what their needs are, it's easier to help them as an artist and as a manager. If that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
So, for example, like even with my sister, yeah, that's my sister, but I still try to separate it where she could trust me on a business sense, but I'm still her brother, so she trusts that things will be handled accordingly.
Yeah.
Someone who is not my sister, they see kind of how I take care and put care into the artist in terms of if you're really not something managers should do, but if you're down on money and you have to do a promotion or need help with streaming or so forth, I'll help you. You know,
Right.
I'll put up if it's 25%, 50% in. I'll try because that just shows a little extra care. You know,
Let
I
me.
think it's
I want to ask you something.
yeah.
In regards to the trust, because it's I think it's awesome that you're working with somebody who's family, which is
Yes.
like super hard, by the way,
Very.
and then the ones that you've built relationships with. How do you find the communication between all those parties? Do they differ? Do they vary? Do you find it easier to have those conversations to build the trust?
Um. Okay. Obviously, guys who are my age, um, everyone wants to be their own man, so everyone wants to decide do their own thing. So what I do is I try not to force anything. I give people the opportunity to listen and the opportunity to do your own thing. So one of my artists, I like doing things a certain way. I want to make sure you have your artwork, your motion graphics, your EPK, your press release done before you even put the music out. Some artists don't agree with that. They just want to put things out just because they want to. Now,
Yeah.
I will preach what I have to preach, and if you choose not to go with it, I will let you do it your way, and I will show you the results between your way and my way. And
Right.
that I will let you decide to trust on your own with numbers.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. Well done. And how's that working for you?
Great, everyone listens to Ryder now.
I love it.
Amazing.
You know, I love the tidbits.
So
Like it's because you know this industry. People, like I said, when I started at the top, I find they give you the big picture, and then we have to kind of decide how to micro get to that big picture. Those little tiny steps. But
exactly,
those little steps is where the trust comes in.
exactly.
So
And it's hard because like it's the industry. Everybody wants results right away. Everyone thinks because you have a manager, things are like your fault or your
yeah.
job, and it's like it's really not. I think the title of a manager is still not clear to many artists.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, trust comes in where I think you have to do the extra patience and try to listen, hear people out, understand their personality, to see if it's even an artist that you can work with. It is going to be an issue because some artists are never going to listen to you no matter what. you know.
Yeah.
So you really
That,
have to kind of break down people's personalities first, see what they want, if they're coachable or not, and then kind of take it from there.
We actually have a question from Dexter. He said, do you think when collaborating and you have a big picture, do you find it hard to be open to other people's ways of doing something that will get the same results? That's a great question.
So that sounds like if I'm doing a feature with somebody, should I expect them to put in the same work?
No, so let's say you have your own way of doing something. Somebody has their own way of doing something, but both of you, in your own unique ways, will get the same results. Do you find it hard to be open to the other person's way of doing things, knowing that their way is different than yours, but the result will be the same?
No. And the reason being is because I have to know what bet I'm making for myself. If I'm
nice. Ooh,
doing, let's say
nice.
I'm doing a feature with a bigger artist, I already know this is going to be in his favor because he's a bigger artist and he's going to want to do things his way. And that's just what the artist has to kind of deal with. You know, this is the artist. He's has a bigger platform. Like numbers don't lie, and it's probably going to help you your career. So just fall back a little bit, play your role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, Vice versa. Let's say my artist is the bigger artist. I would want it my way for sure.
So
I'll
how do
definitely
you
want it my
decide?
way, and if I feel like if it's a neutral ground, I would get on the neutral ground. If I feel like it's an artist, like I said, if I break down the personality, if I look at the artist's rap sheet, and it's an artist who I don't like their branding, it doesn't match their branding, it doesn't make sense. I probably would even do the feature.
Okay.
Okay. So you're trusting your judgment.
I'm trusting the judgment.
Okay.
Less is
That,
more for me.
that's interesting. I'm going to put this out to yourself as well as everybody out there that's listening. How much of your gut and your intuition is part in your trust factors?
Everything. My gut is
Everything.
my everything. Like I said, I believe in personality and like friendship first. So if I go around an artist and I like their work ethic, I like how they treat the engineer, I like how they respect time, I like how they respect their environment, they keep it clean. It's just little things. It's like an interview again. If I go through those processes and you're a good person, I'm gonna be eager to work with you. I'm probably gonna not charge for certain things, not probably extra help, give it just because you're a good person. If I feel like you got your own thing going on and you're this guy, I'm gonna let you do your thing. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
respect you. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll just respectfully decline.
Yeah.
But
I
it's,
had
it's
That's
gut
fair.
is number one for sure.
I like that. I had a mentor years ago who told me because I'm very in my head.
Yeah.
And you're gonna find it's interesting. I find, anyways, especially dealing working with females. If females have children, they're more in their head
Hmm.
because they have to logically think at next steps. Always, they're always in their head.
Yeah.
Um, I was having a very difficult time making intuitive decisions, like gut decisions, and I was told a lot of the stuff that we think about in our head, it has to almost go to our heart at some point. If we're not emotionally
Yep.
tied to what's going on in our head, it can't get down to our gut.
Exactly.
So it stays in our head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that
Exactly.
that was like life changing for me because it helped me find the feminine energy inside of me. Like mental energy is really high male energy, heart energy is female, and then kind of making that blend. It I like
Yes.
intuitively that gut feeling became super super easy,
Yep.
which ties into trust.
Yep.
It really does because I think that voice, that inaudible voice that nobody else can hear but you. I
Yep.
think that one is the one that has all the answers. But I think it's very rare that we listen to it.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like as a manager, when you guys brought up trust issues, I feel like like trust is number one, and like you like sometimes as a manager, you have to be the bigger person and let that artist know, like, listen, you're safe here. Like I understand. I know you probably went to a whole bunch of fake managers or whatever they want to call themselves, but you're safe here. I'm not Drake's manager. I'm not whatsoever, but
Mhm.
I'm trying and I'm getting there. And if you
Yeah,
trust me and we'll get it together, we can definitely make something happen. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And I think it's definitely very important.
I like that. I think a lot of people don't realize too, while you're in the process of helping people, you're also developing yourself.
Yeah,
You've never worked with somebody like that. So there's always a development at play. Always.
exactly.
You could manage 17, 2,000 artists. It doesn't matter in the course of your career. I personally think you have to be developing in every single interaction because nobody is the same.
Exactly.
So the transformation of believing in yourself, trusting yourself to make the right decisions first and foremost,
Yeah,
and then being able to trust the individuals that you're working with, that's massive.
yeah, that's
Right.
facts, man.
I want you to tell everybody who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff, so they know why you're even on here and talking so much.
Okay, so my name is Writer Vision. I am a artist manager A&R. I work with an array of artists: Free A, Janair, Tasha Mack, Nick Souza, producer YNL. I used to be A&R for an independent label in the city, NWIE. Great people. They're located in Etobicoke. Tanisha Music, she's the owner of that label. Fantastic young queen. I think you guys should really keep your eye on her. Um,
Agreed.
and I've been doing music management unconsciously, I'd say, probably 5 years. Yeah. I graduated from the Reams Project. I'm 14.0 alumni. Um, it's been a great experience. And to be honest, the reason why I love management or why I even got into management is because there's a void of information. A lot of artists, when I was like starting off, they didn't know what SoulCan was, Sound Exchange was, MRock, or none of these things. And I felt like,
Yeah.
well, someone needs to tell these guys this, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of took that role on myself. I naturally love music. I generally love new artists, love hearing new music. So that's why I kind of went into that range.
Well, we appreciate you, Ryder. Like, honestly, you work hard. From the day that I met you, it was vibes. Like, legit. I knew that what you did was in you, it was of you.
Love,
And
I appreciate
I
that.
just want you to keep going, keep doing, keep prospering, keep trusting, keep
Love,
building
thank you.
trust. We need a lot more of that in this city because I really believe the amount of talent in here, if we could kind of just figure out ways to communicate to each other, trust each other, about like even learn how to ask the right questions and develop each other, this city would be off the map.
Yep,
Off.
we have such like, lots of talent out here. Lots of
Yeah,
talent. And for ever listening, I'm starting a platform very soon called the Vision Lab. So all
okay.
our artists, I'm gonna be hitting you up. It's gonna get crazy.
We're here for you, buddy.
All right, guys. So Black Queens, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Hope you
You
guys the best. All right. Take care,
enjoy
guys.
Enjoy.
You too.
Bye,
so
hon.
quiet. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for coming, Ryder.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna kind of switch as much as we're kind of talking about the industry and trust in the industry. I really, if an artist wants to come on here to talk, please, I'm dying to talk to an artist because there's so many times that I think the initial conversations, it's always really, really hopeful. They have these beautiful concepts that we just dying to create with them and grow and develop. And then as soon as we're like, yes, it gets dark. You move forward and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm not sure if you hear from them. I'm not sure. I don't know what's happening. And I do think there's a little bit of, what do you call it? Like deja vu, if you will. That all of a sudden, yes, it's the trigger, the trust trigger. And when somebody's like sitting here like, oh God, I can't wait to help you. And then it's, that individual suffering with their trust triggers, but they're not advising. We don't know what to do. And guess what happens? The individual who wants to help now has trust issues with people coming to them for the help. It's like a virus. It's horrible. Yeah, right. So, if there are any artists on right now that actually want to come on, or anybody who's had an experience with trust, I want to have that conversation.
Or if anybody in here right now knows of any artist that's currently or has in the past struggled with this, send them the live. Get them in here.
Yeah.
We have some comments that we got to catch up with. So,
okay.
Nevin said it's very important to share knowledge. That helps building trust with partners. The more someone understands what's required for you to get your job done, the easier it could be to let people breathe.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm going to touch on that for a second, Nevin, because there is a weird double-edged sword on that conversation.
Shing, shing.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that before we move on to the next comment?
Yeah, if you don't
What's
mind,
up? Yeah.
super quick, so while it's on my mind. Knowledge is one of those things I think people are afraid of to give others because they feel like if you know it, then you don't need me. Is that in itself not a trust issue? How much knowledge do you give? How comfortable do you feel giving knowledge to somebody in hopes that they will trust you to use the knowledge versus take the knowledge and use it for themselves?
That is a very valid question. Can I take this one?
Please.
Ooh, okay, so.
Slap.
No, but don't listen. Stay
I
with
wanted
me.
the shadow.
Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Take me with you. So this is something I very specifically and very commonly deal with.
You would.
For those that don't know, I wear many hats. I like to do a lot of things. I like to teach myself a lot of new things because I have difficulty trusting other people to do things for me. And I just enjoy doing stuff for myself. It's nice to be self-sufficient. However, that opens the doors for a lot of people to come to me for information, which is great. I love to help people. I love to share information. And I used to have that fear where I was hesitant to share information because of specifically what you said. Well, if I just give the information to you, then you don't need me. What helped me overcome that was understanding the fact that the way that I do things with the information that I have is unique and completely different than anybody else.
I like that.
So, yes, you initially came to me for information because you needed what I had or have, right? Now, yes, I could probably help you greatly by doing something for you with the knowledge that I have, but I can also give you that knowledge so that A, you understand what I'm doing for you, B, you understand how I'm doing what I'm doing for you, and C, you understand why I made the choices to do things the way that I do things for you.
I like
to get the kind of results that I get,
really
right?
do like. Now, do you communicate that in the process?
Yes. Now I do.
Okay.
Now I do.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's important. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was really hard.
No, I believe that.
Yeah, because there are people out there that will just take the information and be like,
peace out. Yeah. I'm like, where'd she go?
But there's something very, very powerful about sharing information, not only for other people, but for yourself. Your brain can only hold so much, guys.
Yeah.
So if you cannot make space for new information by passing the torch and sharing information with other people, then you are directly, I was going to say indirectly, but no, you are directly stunting your growth.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to piggyback off that and then we can keep going to the comments.
Yes.
So question for you. In regards to the knowledge that is heard now,
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming they're coming to you obviously for help.
Yes.
People always are trying to acquire a team so that they can, develop themselves and pass on what it is that they don't want to do or cannot do with themselves.
Right.
When you have this knowledge-based information, do you find that even when they pull away, is there a way to kind of bring them back? Because I don't know. I feel like if I take the information to especially if I'm looking, okay, let me clarify. There's a period where somebody's looking for knowledgeable help.
Okay.
And then there's people fishing to see how much you know so you can help them.
Okay.
Okay. So with that being said, can you turn that around at any given point in time? Or can you identify who just wants to know what they want to know and give them enough to send them on their way? Or do you find you get into the trap too much information and then, like how do you reclaim?
So to answer your question simply, yes. But I think that in order to do that, and it's like your favorite thing to say that I love to take from you is asking open-ended questions. You ask the right questions, then you can get the right answers first and foremost, but then you can also get the knowledge that you need to prepare the situation in a way that serves both yourself and the person that you're dealing with, right? So if I see that this person actually, yes, they could do it themselves, but they probably need me to do something for them, but they're trying to do it themselves, I would give them the space to explore that, because I do feel that it's important for people to learn lessons, because they'll take more value from it as opposed to me just telling them, you know, when they can apply something. So I give them the space and give them all of the tools and information that they need to be able to take what I've given them and make a educated, well-rounded, educated decision for themselves, in hope that they would see the same end result that I've already envisioned in my head for them, which in turn would bring them back.
I like that.
And I think follow-up is key too.
Follow-up's massive.
Yeah.
Follow-up's massive.
It's absolutely beneficial to both of us.
Hold on. Follow-up is massive. Can I please get on that? Guys, follow up. Follow up. Like everybody has this problem.
Yes.
Including myself.
I think this is another topic for another day, but I do want to touch on it very briefly and just say that, and I know Dexter touched on, you know, ego and pride is a huge thing in this industry. And it really, really affects following up. I've heard many artists in the past be like, well, I reached out to so-and-so to do something for me or to work with me on this, and I just didn't hear back from them. We need to understand that we are not entitled. We are not entitled to people's time and energy. Everybody has things going on. Forgetfulness is a thing, and you can't take anything personally. So just because you don't hear back from somebody does not always mean that it was intentional and that they just don't want to hear from you, they don't want to speak to you, and they don't want to work with you.
Agreed.
9 times out of 10, if you just follow up and be like, hey, just checking to see if you got my last email, or hey, wondering if you got a chance to think about the last thing that we talked about, they'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Nothing wrong
blah,
with
blah,
that.
blah.
Nothing wrong with
They want the reminder. We welcome the reminders.
Yeah. And that's part of trust. Actually, ironically, and I know it sounds crazy, like you trusted that I would just answer you on the first email. I feel you.
Thank
I
you.
get that.
Appreciate it.
Follow me. But in the follow-up, I realize that now I can trust that you are really invested in what's happening because you care enough to follow up.
Oh, so you meant what you were saying before.
Gotcha.
You really want.
Yeah.
What
You're
you
also
really
telling
want.
me about a little bit about yourself, too. That does tell people about others when you follow up. They are diligent. They're perseverant. They know, like, you know what I mean? Even patient, I would say. There's some things that go into that. And that's how you kind of work with the trust factor. When you start to develop with the individual in the process.
Yep.
Remember, guys, you don't know these people. Some people know, but your friends, you don't know how they work. They'll tell you the best of stories. Oh, I had such a great moment. But it's hard. I find most people don't be like, I really fucked up on this project, man.
Yeah.
I suck ass. Nobody, it's very rare, let me say it that way, that somebody shows you that they didn't do a good job.
Right?
As a friend. Your friend, you know, you when you do a good job, you're usually at the patio sipping something, celebrating a good job. So you think that your friend is great. And then they come and sell you something, and then all of a sudden you realize their work ethic doesn't work with you. It's not you.
I have to drop an air horn in this whole section.
It's not you guys. It's really not. All right, let's go through some of the comments.
All right. So let's see here. We have a couple. Darcy said, all of the puzzle pieces in the arts don't always fit. And as you try to figure out the music industry, do you think your trust management is limited to that genre? Ooh, good question. Before we get into that, can you just open the door for me, please?
Yes.
Stop. Needy pets. There we go. All right, so to reiterate, all of the puzzle pieces in the arts don't always fit. And as you try to figure out the music industry, do you think your trust management is limited to that genre?
Who wants to answer this?
I'll let you go first on this one.
No, never. I think as an artist, because you're working so diligently in a particular genre at times or on a particular project, that blinders go up, so you kind of assume that that's where you fit. I think if of course you have management or you have individuals that support and are around you that help brainstorm or mastermind with you, it's really cool if you kind of think outside the box. I was told that to get outside the box, the instructions are written on the outside.
Ooh.
So you gotta find somebody that's on the outside of the box to help give you the instructions on how to get out.
I like that.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it has to be genre specific. You may find your glory in some place, in some other space that you didn't really identify with. I can speak in regards to Toronto's very, very circular. There's lots of circles in the city where everybody kind of sits and resides from an artistic perspective.
Yeah.
And they really can't see outside of the circle. And so you kind of do what you know based on your circle.
Yep.
Or your network. And so you trust that. What you don't know or don't trust is what's happening in the other circles. And so, you know what I mean? Maybe it's time to make a figure eight.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Stop watching other people's grass, y'all. Water your own.
Real talks. But you gotta trust that, you know what, your artistic ability, your creativeness, your perseverance, your problem solving is outside of even the limitations you've even given yourself. Again, yes, you only know what you know, but when you step outside of that, then that's when you figure out, okay, I can identify with that, I'm capable, and I can support somebody in the process, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, so in trust, do you think actions speak louder than words?
Every single time.
Every single time. A resounding yes.
Every single time.
Yes, yes, yes.
Please, just do a thing. I have a very simple theory. Anybody who's ever had a conversation with me knows I always say, the mind creates, the brain does.
Ooh, one more time.
The mind creates, the brain does. So your mind will create. But if you keep something in the mind too long, it starts to make shit. It starts to build on it, and it starts to like create all these ideas and concepts that you have no place being.
Yeah.
So there's moments in your life where or that mind, that creative space, that you have to kind of give it to your brain and your brain will either make your hands move, your feet move, your mouth move. Something will move in order to actuate what it is that you want. So action speaks louder than words.
Yay! Does anybody else want to come on here? We got a few minutes left. Any other questions? Any other facets of trust that you would like to discuss and explore? OP says hi. The needy pup that just had to get in on the action.
Do you want to talk about relationships?
I mean, I always want to talk about relationships. I actually had a thought just now. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, funny.
So then what does
Aisha
the heart
says,
do?
yeah, so then what does the heart do?
Heart fills the action. So if you've created something in the mind, you've given it to the brain, the heart gives you gratitude for actually being able to do that. It thanks you for being able to action it. I'm a firm believer that we all really need to learn how to pat ourselves on the back after a hard day's work. Thank you, love. I appreciate that. But it's important that you realize you're doing something you've never done. You're in the process of achieving. Every single step that you take is your development. It's your journey. Every aspect of it is designed specifically for you. So wherever you are is exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
You just now have to kind of move forward. Think of a video game. Video games are like my favorite example. So you're going to the video game, like you're on a particular level, and as you move through the level, coming close to the end, it does get slightly harder. The bad guys get a little harder, all that good stuff. And in order to hit that next level, there's always like this main guy that is like, you have you have to fight that guy, I don't know anybody that really just fights that guy and moves on. Maybe in the lower levels. But once you get into the higher levels, it's like, yo, he kills you. And then you gotta restart. And then you gotta do it again. And then he kills you. And then you restart. And you do it again. And you restart. Why can't that be life?
I mean, it is.
It should be.
Without the dying.
But the irony is, in the video game, we're willing to restart. Sometimes in life, we're not. We just give up and quit.
Yes, that's a really great analogy.
Yeah.
That's a really great
Thank
analogy.
you. I think we should trust, girl, what goes in has to come out.
Yep.
There's nothing you can put inside that doesn't come out. And I'm not just talking food. It's a mindset thing too, right? So when you start to trust yourself, it helps you trust others.
Mm-hmm.
And to trust that every single time you go back to that bad guy and fight him, at some point you're going to win and level up is key.
Now, why do you have that expectation? Because you should, and I don't say you are because some people don't, but you should be learning from every single try. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
So if you keep going with the video game, if you do the exact same thing every time you start a new life, you ain't never gonna beat the boss.
No.
So, as you said, we should be applying that same rationale in real life.
In real life.
Level
Level up.
I love leveling up. Level up. Level up. Level up. Level up. Level up. But
We're stupid.
no, we're fine. That's different. We really have to focus on beating the bosses.
It's okay.
Beating the bosses in our own life, learning from every experience that we encounter, and never being afraid to start fresh, try again. You know, unless you're ready to like literally die, what's the fear in starting again with something or someone new?
I mean, and if you have fear, and fear happens a lot with trust, fear is your soft spot. That's the sweet spot. When you learn to overcome the fear, trust me, it's straight shots from there. It's straight shots. I mean, that's the point, or at least it should be. As an artist, I bet you your first fear was standing on stage holding a mic and assuming that people would actually like what you've expressed, but you did it. That fear, every time you hit that fear spot, be like, okay, level up moments. That's the big boss right there. You know you, or maybe you should learn to know you. Right? So figure out who you are in the process, and then that'll also help you attract who needs to be in your corner and on your team. So it'll help allow trust to be a thing in your life, to just spread that. You cannot do it all. I know there's some that totally like, I know that's your claim to fame. I know that's your trophy. That's where you sit. But you don't do it all. Don't do it all. Empower others to do what it is that and teach them. Be a teacher, be a leader. Bosses create bosses. You know what I mean? So that has to come with trust, but you have to start with trusting yourself that you're even capable of doing that. Reading development books, videos, whatever it takes. Your development is your journey.
Yep. Your development is your journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so Coco is going to request to come in, and hopefully we can get at least one more person to come in. I don't know if Crystal's still in here. Darcy, I don't know why you're sitting over there all quiet.
Yeah, Cam, what's going on?
Cam.
Great. Cam,
so
Cam is a
what
boss.
We're going to do, we have this live is going to actually end in a few minutes. So I'm just going to end it now, and then we're going to come right back so that we don't have to worry about people getting cut off when they call in. So y'all, there's 8 of you in here right now. I think I can't really see my glasses. I need a new prescription. But please come back into the live. When you get in, click that little paper airplane icon, share out the live, because there's tons more people that want and need to contribute to this conversation. And we will see you guys in 2.2 seconds. Okay? See you in a sec.
Yeah.
Okay, LB, you need to go down, Bubba's.